Fat loss, week 14. Welcome. This week my chest and legs are down 1 centimeter, legs are finally under 70 centimeters. That's a milestone right there. My average calories were the highest so far, 2,812 per day. And my average weight was 0.6 kilos down from last week. Total weight loss is now damn near 10 kilos. That tends to be around the amount that I lose on my cuts, but this time I'm planning to go further than that. This was another very active week. My training volume was the same as last week. My cycling was negligible, maybe like 20 kilometers, but that's virtually nothing. But my daily steps were 15.6 thousand on average. That's about 600 to 700 extra calories burnt every day. One thing that has definitely helped sustain these high levels of activity outside is the changes in my environment this summer. I spent almost all of May in my childhood hometown, and this week I moved to Helsinki, where I will be spending at least all of June. And I have to say that the parks here are pretty nice. I've actually started feeling a little bit of diet fatigue from time to time now. In the beginning, I would maybe have one day every week on average where my appetite was considerably higher than normal and where I was more tired than normal. And on some days my appetite would actually be quite low, and it would be relatively easy to eat 2,000 or even under 2,000 calories that day. Then somewhere after the 2-month mark, the low appetite days would basically completely go away, but my appetite wouldn't be particularly high either. Something I've been noticing, especially this past week, however, is that my mind is going like, I can't believe I gotta walk 15,000 steps today again. And I also want more carbs. God damn it. Give me more pasta and cereal. And preferably ice cream as well. What's interesting about this is that I'm now approaching 10 kilos of total weight loss, like I said before. And this always happens when I've lost about 1/10 of my body weight. This always results in a sort of battle between my motivation to keep losing weight and seeing results and my desire to eat more food and stop being so goddamn active. Then I figure, hey, if I make my deficit smaller, this process will be easier and I'll still keep losing weight. Then I lose like 1 kilo of weight per month while still feeling like I'm restricting myself. The progress just doesn't feel rewarding enough compared to the perceived effort I'm putting in. So I basically just slowly fart out of the diet and start a bulking phase. This time I'm avoiding that by maintaining a decent deficit all the way to the end of this cut and then transitioning to a controlled, slow bulk. As I said way back when I started this whole thing, the purpose of this diet is to see what I look like when I'm lean again and to see how much muscle I've gained in these past 4 years or so. So far I haven't mentioned a clear goal which I will be aiming for during this cut, but now I'm determined to say that it'll be until I have an 80 centimeter waist measurement. That would be the same as in 2018, which would make comparing weight and chest and arm and leg measurements and so on easier. Maybe this will take 3 more weeks, maybe it'll take 8 more weeks, we'll see, but that's where we're going. This week we had a dog to take care of while its owners were on vacation in Greece. This one likes to shake its butt when it's happy to see you back home. Definitely helped with getting more steps because even after you're done with all of your own business, the dog still has to go poopy. Such a good girl, she is. I am doing a lot of moving around this summer, and with the seasons changing as well in the middle of my weight loss, from a cold winter to a warm summer, I've been thinking a lot about how much of a role environment plays in making lifestyle changes. Compare someone who constantly has delicious food all around them, either in their home or in their workplace, versus someone who doesn't. Or someone whose friends constantly go to fast food places versus someone whose friends don't. Compare someone who works sedentary versus someone who gets a ton of steps in during their work shifts. Or someone who lives in an environment that is not well suited for outdoor activities versus someone who lives in an area with beautiful scenery and wonderful routes for walking, jogging and cycling and so on. Or someone who has nothing to do with their free time, just sitting at home, eating, watching stuff, versus someone who has a lot of interesting hobbies and projects.
Motivation and willpower will eventually stop working, and the smart person's way to make permanent lifestyle changes is to change their environment and behaviors. It may sound harsh, but you choose the people you associate and spend time with, you choose where you live, and you choose where you work. Making changes into some of these things, like changing your career path or the city you live in, might take some time, but if you never even try to make those changes and put those plans into action, they will never happen. Obviously, some changes are easier than others and some take more time than others. You can't really change your family, for example, but you can choose how much time you spend with certain people and friends, like people who enable you to live in a bad way versus people who encourage you to do better. Environment does play a huge role when it comes to the gym itself as well, of course. I used to be someone who really thrived on external validation and recognition, someone paying attention to me if I was lifting what I consider to be heavy. Of course, heavy on a commercial gym standard, something you wouldn't see often. It would just really stroke my ego and make me feel good about myself. Of course, nowadays I have ascended beyond such a primitive mindset. Well, yes and no. I think such a thing is part of almost all of us that wants to rear its ugly head from time to time. But if I honestly think about it, when I'm doing something heavy like squats and deadlifts, I couldn't care less if someone is paying attention to me. I am not paying attention to anyone else, and I do not want to talk to anyone. I just want to focus on the set that I am doing, focus on every single rep, and even when I'm resting, I just want to recover from the previous set and mentally get ready for the next one. And once I'm doing my accessory lifts, I usually do them with very light weights relative to my main lifts, with full range of motion, good technique, focusing on the muscle. Not that impressive. I really don't care if someone is watching me do that, and I don't watch anyone else do their stuff. By far the most important thing when it comes to choosing a gym that I go to these days is ease of access. I'm a poor student, I do not own a car, I travel by walking and cycling, so distance is a very important thing. If the gym is too far away, it's a no-go. In addition, my sleeping schedule tends to be really volatile. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and go to sleep next afternoon if my social schedule allows for that, so a 24-hour gym is a huge bonus. It also allows me to train alone, not having to worry about equipment being taken, and also letting me record my sets without bothering any other person. Also, relating to what I said earlier about not really thriving on external validation, and not really wanting to talk to people that much when I train, except maybe when doing accessory stuff that's less serious, if it's a good friend or a relative. It really doesn't matter if the gym is empty. In fact, it allows me to focus even better. But I still have to admit that if someone is pushing themselves really hard next to me with heavy weights at the gym, it also motivates me to push hard as well. I'm not gonna go off plan, put more weight on the bar or do more reps than I planned, but it really makes the bad days much easier. I have to admit that. The gym in my hometown, where I actually live, is a commercial gym, but damn near the best possible commercial gym you could ever ask for. Really good equipment, Eleiko, really spacious, and it's open from 5 AM to 11 PM. Not the best opening hours, but pretty decent. And it's like 200 meters from my home. So that is ease of access right there. The gym in my childhood hometown, where I just spent 3 weeks and I usually go there a few times per year, is a great one as well. It's 24 hours, the owner is a great guy, and the atmosphere is amazing. The equipment is good as well. And now I'm spending time in my girlfriend's temporary apartment that she lives in for this summer because of a job, and I go to a 24/7 fitness. The equipment isn't the best, the atmosphere isn't the best, but it's 2 kilometers from my house. It's 24/7, and it resides in the biggest mall in all of Northern Europe, Tripla, which has some really great coffee places, some 24-hour shops, and so on. So that's a really great quality of life bonus as well. Ultimately, you have to identify what kind of a lifter you are and what things are important to you. None of them are better or worse than the rest, even though I've been joking about it here a little bit. But it's a really important thing to pick the right gym for you. It can really improve your results, your consistency, and your longevity in this game. Thank you for watching this week's video. I will see you again next week.